Right, you guys, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Mikez, okay? Make sure. If you don't subscribe to Mikez, you're gonna have a fat forehead and a big hairline.
Boom, I'm with the guy Max inside. Subscribe to him, make sure you do. Still best content coming out. You know how it is.
Hello and welcome back to another live, people. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're smashing the likes and subscribing if you are new. And yes, today is a bit of a different one, but it's kind of a start of a new, not really a series. It's not really for this channel in a sense. I'm kind of just going on here to react to some stuff. Simple as that. Simple as that, to be honest. Because I've got Mikez Reacts now, and I thought what I'd do is I'll put it all into one session, then just clip it up and then upload it onto my second channel, which seems to be the useful thing. But it also seems to be the format, it seems to be the formula of what most streamers are doing now. I don't know how many hours I'm going to go on for. Probably not that long today, but I was actually meant to do this yesterday. Not too far into the evening sort of thing, because it's a bit of a late one, so we're not going to get many viewers for this, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't matter. So, I am going to start by doing the pen game rap battlers tier list, because I want to upload that on, you know, my Reacts channel as well. So, I am probably going to start with that, so if you don't watch pen game, I'm really sorry, but at the same time, it has to be done. It has to be done. So, yeah, let's get into it. This is the first thing. Like, it is a react session, but I'm going to do this. Should I set my thing up like this or like this? What's the better setup? We're going to have to do it like this. Alright. They don't have everyone. This list is kind of botched. I will say that. This list is kind of botched. I'm not going to lie. The list is kind of botched. But at the same time, we're going to just have to make do with what we're doing sort of thing. Got to make do with it. So let's get started. So we've got haven't seen. I think we delete that one. We can delete that one, right? Delete that one because I've seen them all. So we just go from S to F. S to F essentially. Okay. Should I make this smaller for myself? No, don't do that. Why is there so many ads? Too many ads. That's the only problem with doing tier lists. Too many ads. Okay. Starting with Dino. Big up to Dino every single time. You know what it is with Dino? Dino's strengths, I would say, is bars. If we're going purely off bars, he'd probably be top tier. If I'm 100% honest. If we're just going purely like punchlines, wordplay, he probably would be up there like top tier and stuff. The only thing I will say is conviction. Because if you watch Dino versus Kusha, I'd say Dino actually won if you listen to everything that everyone is saying. But sometimes that's not what always wins a clash. And the reason why I say that is because when you're live in a room as well, where the judges are sometimes influenced by the crowd or just influenced by the vibe of the room, because it's still music at the end of the day, because pen game is different from every other rap battling platform, as everyone is trying to show their artistry more so than the actual bars itself at times, even though pen game does appreciate bars at the same time. But I think he won that Kusha battle, but it's also another example of conviction is a big thing. Delivery is a big thing. And he actually has a good delivery in terms of, like, his cadence is sick. His cadence is really good. And that's what makes some of his stuff catchy. His rhyme schemes are really good. His flows are really good. It's just conviction is not always going to win you. The conviction is probably what sometimes is lacking, what sometimes is the last piece, and what you can do in a rap battle. So I'm going to put Dino A or B. I think he needs to show more standout moments to get to A. So I'm going to say B. If we was ranking all these MCs of artistry, most of the people wouldn't leave below A tier, if I'm being 100% real. Dobby Dusk. I watched Tap 24 versus Dobby Dusk today on Mikez Reacts, so go and check that out. Make sure to subscribe to Mikez Reacts as well, because the link is in the title. And Dobby, where do we put Dobby? Dobby again is another one where I think he's really good. I think he's really good, not gonna lie. I think his rhyme schemes are really good. I think his flows are really good. I think his bars are really good. I think he punches really well with his flows and the way he lands all the syllables correctly. Maybe he hasn't had enough clashes though for me to rank him in A or S. I think he should be in a tournament. I think him and Ambu, who we'll get onto a bit later, should be in a tournament. To be 100% honest, they're more than good enough, and they could have, really made a wave in this tournament. I think Dommy's best moment or best clash was against Hunts, and people are going to be like, well, it's Hunts, and cool, you can say that, but that doesn't take away from how good Dommy was on the day. Same with Dino's probably highlight moment is against S2 Mad, and people will say, well, it's S2 Mad, but at the same time, S2 Mad, I mean, it doesn't take away from how good Dino was. So, with Dommy, I think it's just a matter of having more standout moments in more clashes. Needs more clashes under his belt, more standout moments, but he's very good. He's very, very good, so I'm going to put him in B. I'm not going to rank the people in the tier until we get to the end, maybe, if we have time. But we'll get onto that later. But Dobby is another one where these two have got potential, by the way, to go into A and go into S. They've got potential to go into both. So, there's still time. But I've got to be brutally honest. Fendry. By the way, I will make changes towards the end, depending on the way it looks, because I might contradict myself, because sometimes tier lists just can contradict themselves, typically. Fendry. Yeah. Fendry is another one. Who's really skilled. Really, really skilled. And what I will say as well with Fendry is that he does have a lot of stand-up moments. But again, it's not enough clashes for me to put him in the places where he can be. I think he did really well in the group stages. I only think he probably needs to work on his clarity, and I think that's a big disadvantage on what northern rappers and northern MCs probably have to work on more than an MC or rapper from London, typically. Because I would say, just in general, big up Jacob as well, hope you're well, bro. I'm just currently doing the tier list, so I think you'll enjoy this one. Yeah, with Fendry, what I will say is that he did really well in the group stage. He does have some standout moments. Probably have to work on his clarity. His standout battle, people would probably say the Dobby Dusk one. But I think he did really well in his first round against Kusha. That was probably one of my favourite beats that he's picked. I think he can adapt himself to the situation in the clash. What I will say as well, though, as he's in the quarterfinals, he probably has to take less risks in terms of maybe going for the more light-hearted, jokey side to win a clash. Because once you get to the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and final, I think more people are going to expect you to be a bit more serious with what your disses are and how you're drawing people out. And that's what maybe the future judges will expect, or maybe what's going to win you the future clashes, in the knockout stages. So that's the only thing I'll say for the future, because Fendry is funny, he's witty. And what I was saying to him before Group C was, I expect you to have your standout moments. I expect you to have the most standout moments within the group. And I expect you to go through because of that. Is this for the reaction, or it is, Jacob? It is. Because I'm going to make this, basically clip this, and then put it as an upload for the reaction channel as well. So with Fendry, enough waffling, I'm going to also put him in B. But I can hear debates for A. I can really hear debates for A. I think I should probably revisit this once the tournament ends as well. But a lot of people wanted me to do a tier list to Pen Game now. So, yeah, that's why I'm doing it now. But I'm only saying B just because he's on the right path, but there's unearthed potential to put you here. There's more clashes need to be under your belt. I'm not going to rank too mad because he only had one clash. So he only had one publicised clash, and that was against Scams. Yeah. he did well there, but there's not enough to rank you on. It's not enough to rank you on. So, Hunts. Hunts is a great artist in terms of when you actually listen to his music itself. It's really good from what I heard. The guy can rap. It's just battling is a whole different stratosphere because everyone apart from Zen is naturally an artist. Naturally an artist. Like, they're an artist by trade rather than a battler by trade, which what makes pen games so fun and so unique at the same time is you'll get a unique beat selections from these artists, and if you don't think if you want to hear more from them, you get to hear their music, and it usually replicates what they sound like in battles at times, and you can hear that in the battles. And Hunts isn't someone that's really won a clash yet. He's only clashed 3 times against Armbu, Passive, and Dobby. Those are difficult opponents to come up against for your first 3, but that's what what's it called? A good 3 for, to start off with. Low-key, bro, a good idea some streamers use for the chat on screen is make sure the chat stays on for 5 seconds rather than the whole time if you want to try that. Do you know what the problem is, bro? Do you know what the problem is, Jacob? Because this is like a beta on StreamYard, there's no settings to it. Because if I was doing it on Twitch, like, it would probably do that, innit? But because I'm not streaming it off Twitch, I can't really do that. But I'm going to have to figure it out because the whole chat thing that's been added from the YouTube platform that we use, it's just a beta right now. But I'll probably should add that in the future if I can. But once I'm going to try to stream on Twitch a lot more as well, once I can get the settings right where my streams can stay on Twitch and stuff. But yeah, back to Hunts. I am going to put him F tier as a battler. As a battler, he's not the greatest battler, but he is a decent artist. But they all are. They're all decent artists. But I think he improved a lot against Dobby. But I have to be fair. I think his delivery was completely off against Dobby. And against Passive, I don't think he understood the assignment. And against Armbu, there wasn't really many highlight moments. Mills is again, he had some like good flows here and there, but in the clashes against Karma and I can't remember the other guy, he had a Man United. Pretty sure he had a Man United shirt on against the other guy. He can flow well. He can deliver. He got a reload. But we haven't really seen him since the Pen Game North, almost like induction. And of the 2 clashes that I've seen, I put this guy in this tier here. Because obviously pause Y, bun up, all of that if you say this letter here. And people are going to just click me, innit? Do you have a number 1? You know what? In terms of like my first for Pen Game, I would say it's between... I'd say it's IB Reels. I think IB Reels has everything. I think IB Reels is number 1 for me. The reason why he's number 1 for me is legitimately because I think he has all the balanced abilities you want in a battler. I think he has the bars, he has the clarity, he has the punchlines, he also has the flows, he has the beat selection, he has the consistency. And as much as he doesn't have many wins in terms of 1v1s under his belt, a lot of that is because he's been done dirty a lot by judges because they don't catch everything on the spot. And to be fair, even in my reactions, Jacob, I'll be so real. Like, even people have said to me, you didn't catch this and you didn't catch that. And it's like, bro, IB Rose is too cold. I think I've caught everything. And then all of a sudden people are telling me, well, he did this as well. And there's so many layers to what he does. And to be honest, if the right judges are picked, he could probably win the whole tournament. To be honest with you, that's probably why he's one of the favourites. I think he can batter anyone on their day, if I'm being 100% honest. I think he has so many chinks in his armour as well. He can murk anybody with different beat selections as well, whether it's a faster tempo or slower tempo. So that's why I would say IB Rules personally. And I should probably rank him now as we are talking about him, because he is over here. And he's going to be the first one to go into S tier. IB Rose has a lot of standout moments. like many, and against FT, against Rosiah, against S2 Mad, even in his recent ones against Karma and JC. He's very good at studying his opponent. He's very good at having a moment that you'll talk about for the next few months at Pen Game. And I feel like a lot of the stuff against IB Rules where people try and study him as the opponent is very samey. Can one rapper go without saying that he has a lisp? God knows. God knows. I think it's getting a bit tiring. I also think it gets a bit tiring when people say that IB Reals, I'll be real. Like, after Dandana said it, no one else needs to say it. I'll be so real, because he made that memorable as his thing. So anyone else that says it now is a bit pointless. I think he did really his most underrated performance when they did the first ever 2v2 with him and Orion versus Smiles and Grams. I think that was probably the most underrated performance from IB Rose himself. Let me move 2 man to the bottom. 2 man to the bottom. Why is it not letting me move him? Give me a sec. Alright, FT. FT. Okay. Do you know what it is with FT? Very talented. Freestyles a lot. Doesn't really stay on beat. Good rhyme schemes. Like, at times he doesn't stay on beat. But I think that's because he's freestyling. Obviously, his most talked about clash was either with Krabs for different reasons or against Pridley. Where would I rank FT? I'm going to have to put him C because he's not shit at all, but he's not like mad, like good enough to be next to the 3 above him because they have more to them. His stand-up moment is a bigger moment than Fendry, Dino, and Dobby have all had on Pen Game. Big up Jacob. But at the same time, I just don't think he's I don't think he's made it to that top level yet. Top level yet, in my opinion. But listen, with FT, it's a case of what would happen if he just wrote. If he just wrote, would it benefit him? Or it's just freestyling his thing. If this is the best that FT has got in his armour, then it's probably never going to be good enough to be in the top 3 tiers. As a rapper himself, he's very good. But it's just about delivering on the day. He's a big troll as well, so I don't know what's going on with him half the time. But that's just my opinion. Ren. I'm putting Ren in S. The reason why I'm putting that, like, bro, I had to check twice to see if that was Ren, by the way. It's such a picture that's done him dirty, bruv. That's a bad picture. That's a bad picture of him. How can they pick a picture of him like this? That's a very old picture as well. I feel like that's like season 3. But first of all, Ren has won Pen Game. Ren has won Pen Game, but he's also stayed consistent whilst earning that win. A lot of, like, he's either Marmite to most people. It's either a hit or a miss. Like, a lot of people like it, a lot of people don't like it. And I can completely understand it because it's quite a unique way of battling. What I will say is I think his rhyme schemes are decent. I think his beat selections are really good. He's got very good delivery. He can also freestyle and rebuttal as well as rapping. Sometimes I do think he has a few fillers. Don't get me wrong. But I think his consistency has warranted his win. Like, you can't say his win wasn't deserved. He made everyone else had to adapt to his style. He adapts to the situation in the crowd. He knows how to win a battle. And you can see from the previous seasons on Pen Game, because I haven't watched his time before that on Don't Flop, that he's always had a similar style, but he's managed to evolve it over the past few months and years. So credit to him. And if you win Pen Game, you do deserve to be an S if you can keep that same level up. Now, if he was to go into Pen Game now, it would be much more difficult for him if he was to come back and battle again, because Pen Game has evolved from the gimmicks. The props don't work like they used to. You see it now. The props don't work like they used to. They don't really get talked about like that. Kusha's probably the only one that's done a prop this Cold War tournament and have it being talked about. So, it's a bit different. However, I think he'd probably lose the passive if he was to clash passive now. If he was to clash Dandana now, it'll be difficult for him. If he was to clash IB Reels now, it'd be difficult. If he was to clash Smiles now, it'd be difficult. Like, there's a lot of battles that he can have now that will be difficult for Ren to actually, like, have more chinks in his armor. I want to see if, is this just Ren's only style when it comes to battle rap on Pen Game, or could he adapt? He doesn't seem like the kind of guy to, like, rap on an aggressive drill beat in front of a mad crowd like that, where he has to keep the energy high and he has to keep the delivery so upbeat, loud, and has to exclamate his points instead of, for example, having to dumb down his delivery, slow it down, and just make it punchy and catchy with his cadence like how he usually does. So that's maybe the criticisms or what people would focus on if he came back or not. But I think Pen Game has already evolved since he left, because he was the reason why everyone was adapting to him. Like Scabs, Orion, Driz, and Sevs all had to adapt to him. He even says it in the final. Speaking of Sevs, man like Sevs. Now, I think if you had asked me before the tournament, I would have put him a tier below where I'm going to put him, only because I think the only thing this guy had missing was, I would say, the beat selection. The type of beats that he would have to pick in terms of him feeling comfortable in his own pocket to deliver the punchlines at an effective rate. Like, for example, like against Cheese, he smoked Cheese, but at times it's like he was trying to stay on beat in that environment, trying to hear himself, and it felt like he was putting too many words into his bars whilst delivering it on them tempos. I would say that over the course of the 2v2 battles with Scams, the battle against Driz, etc., to the Cold War tournament now, he's found his balance of delivering his punchlines whilst also having the lines that people can catch and give him credit for. Because the problem was, in the previous tournament, despite the fact that he made it to the semi-final, I think he was done dirty in the semi-final against Scams. And that's not even discrediting Scams, because Scams did amazing. But it was more to a case of the fact that Sebs himself had a lot of bars and things that went over people's heads. But the only thing that got talked about what he delivered was talking about Scams' mum's pussy. I even said this to him when I met him. It was like the only thing that got talked about was the fact he talked about Scams' mum's pussy and not your actual lines in itself. And it's like the judges don't pay attention to bars. And which does surprise me a bit, because a lot of those judges are experienced. They know about bars, they know about music, they're in the industry, so you'd like to think they have a good ear for bars. A lot of them don't pay attention to that, but maybe it doesn't help with the environment. Maybe they can't hear them properly, because I've been now going to the events. It is very hard to hear those rappers clearly, no matter what venue you go to. But now, I think Sebs has leveled up in the Cold War tournament. Heavily. I think he's leveled up heavily in the Cold War tournament. So what I will say, I think with the highlights against Dino, Kusha, and Fendry, even in the battle where he lost against Dino, which I do think he lost, he still had a lot of highlight moments himself. Like, he goes out swinging. I don't know who he's facing next in the quarterfinals, because that will come out in 2 weeks when the Group D battles have been uploaded and stuff, but I'm going to put this guy in S as well. He would be my contender for number 1, if I'm being 100% honest. He'll be up there for me. Who is Orion? Probably, I'd say he's up there, one of my favourites. Very talented. Knows how to deliver bars on up-tempo, fast beats, with clarity, delivering punchlines, and fantastic rhyme schemes. He's probably the best. Him and Zed are probably the best rhymers in terms of multi-syllable rhyming and stuff, which is an ability I like when done well. And I think he's one of the best when it comes to one-liners, double entendres, and just different schemes in his third round. He can approach any battle differently, despite the fact that his mind hasn't really been on it. The past couple of battles he's had against Zed and Candy, I can't remember what round it was against Candy, when it was like, I should crack his melanin and show him about different races, they'll think I'm racist. Like, the way he just flips shit. Like, my favourite rounds against him is both his third rounds against Cheese and both of the clashes he's had. I think most enjoyable rounds I've heard from him. However, the guy does flop at times. The guy does flop at times. The guy does get a bit too rattled. And I would say that's the only thing that can bring him down from being at an S, which the S is people that are borderline been perfect in their time on pen game. And I think Who Is Orion can definitely get to S tier once, hopefully, he returns. I wish he was in this tournament as well, but I'm going to put him at A. He is one of my favourites on the platform, just to listen to as well. I think he's an incredible artist in terms of the way he puts words together and stuff. And yeah, credit to the guy. Credit to the guy. He's quite consistent overall. Just one too many fumbles at times. One too many fumbles at times. His kryptonite's clearly Driz. Grams. Grams is, I'd say underrated. I'd say Grams is underrated. What I will say though is I don't know whether he has enough stand-up moments for him to be put in the top 2 tiers. I think his cadence is really catchy. His cadence and flow is really catchy. I think he picks the right beat selections that suit him really well. I think he was really good against Missing. I think he has potential to go far. I think he gets a bit too rattled, and he's a bit too erratic within the battle, where he can get a bit too distracted. But he does have some standout moments. I just don't think he has enough to be in the top 2 tiers, if I do say so myself. But I don't think he deserves to go below like these tiers for sure. He's nowhere near these tiers. The fact that people say Grams is shit, nah. I think in the 2v2 he should have gone with Passive in it, but Passive was like a late addition. I think his original partner backed out, so that makes sense. They didn't suit each other. It was like mixing milk and crisps sort of thing. It's 2 very different styles. I'm not going to rank Trappy. Because he has not done a solo battle on pen game. I can't rank a man based off 2v2s. I can't rank a man based on 2v2s. Driz. Speaking of Trappy, Driz, very, very consistent. Very, very consistent. Doesn't really fumble. Different schemes. Doesn't really have filler bars. Can spit on grime and drill. Had to adapt in the tournament because, as I said, Ren made everyone adapt. And I think he had a great chance of winning that semi-final to get to the final. Had a very good chance of winning. And, to be honest, despite the fact that he hasn't won a solo tournament, he showed why the 2v2 what he's capable of as well. And people that say, oh, he's only there because of Trappy, like he was only in the final because of Trappy, or Trappy was only in the final because of Driz. No, a great duo literally gets the best out of each other. It's like a centre-back partnership in football, or strike partnership. But yeah, Driz is going in S for me. I think he's showed enough that he can adapt to the situation, have different schemes for everyone. He's very clever, and a lot of his bars go over people's heads as well. Dan Dada. You see Dan Dada, like, he probably only got his respect, like, started to get his respect in the 2v2, but he's been spazzing for a minute. He's been going in. He's not actually won a tournament yet, funny enough. I don't think so. I don't think he's won a tournament. Because I've only watched back from Season 3. I think he's been at pen game for a while, so to be fair, I don't know if he won a tournament before Season 3. I haven't gone back to watch that far. I actually only started watching pen game last summer, but I only went back as far as to watch it in Season 3 and stuff. So with Dan Dada, I think he showcased his performances really well. I don't think he carried F-Dog, because I think F-Dog still did really well. But what I do think about Dan Dada is that you'll never ever go out from a Dan Dada clash and not finding a standout moment. Never. Never in a million years do you come out of a Dan Dada clash and think, well, he was just waffling. He's a grime MC. I take to grime MCs a lot. For me, with Dan Dada, very consistent. Top tier most of the time. If he loses, he goes out swinging. I think he got done dirty in a previous tournament, and into a previous solo tournament in a group stage, and I think he deserves to be S tier for sure. I think it'll be a disservice to him if I didn't put him in S tier. Caveman. I've watched him twice. I think those are the only 2 clashes he's done. So it is with Caveman. He had potential when I first watched him. Like against Zed, I thought he did alright. But I just think if he stepped up to the big leagues, like against the big MCs, I don't really see him surviving. Like I don't see him surviving a clash against a Smiles, a Scams, a Ren, a IB Reels, who is a Ryan, a Dandana, etc. Like I don't see him surviving in a clash like that. I think he'd be completely wiped the floor with. However, I don't think he's completely shit or anything, so you could go in this tier with Mills. Scams. Now, if you ask any pen game fan now, they will only have negative things to say about Scams because of his recent flops against Rosiah and Ren. I'm not one of these people that's a prisoner of the moment, let's say. A prisoner of the moment. I don't think Scams' highs are appreciated enough because of heavy recency bias. I think he's a very talented MC. I think he's a very talented rapper. I do think, obviously, the flops have to come into it. Of course. But I think, in terms of having a different scheme for every rapper, I think he's up there. I do think he's up there. I think he could have done better against Passive. I don't agree with him when he said he won against Passive. When you watch that back, it was a lot of filler. He could have done way better. He could have done way better against Passive, especially with what Scams is capable of. Especially with what he's capable of. So, I don't agree. I didn't agree with that at all. With his final against Ren, he really could have won that if he didn't flop. Obviously, he flopped in the previous tournament before that against F-Don in the final. He actually wasn't meant to be in the tournament, but then people got disqualified in that tournament, and then he got put in and made it to the final. Don't even think he won against Smiles. Like I think Smiles should have got the decision there, but apparently his mic was fucked up for the first two. I was very confused when I first watched that clash. I was like, how the fuck did Scams win that? But I think Scams is underappreciated. I think Scams is underappreciated for what he's capable of and on his day and stuff like that as well. So I'm going to put Scams in A. I think the only thing that holds him back is his flops. And we're ranking this based on their performances on Pen Game. I think he did really well in the 2v2, to be fair. And at least against F-Don and Dandana, when he did go out in the 2v2, him and Sebs went out swinging. They went out swinging. Cheese. I like Cheese, man. I think Cheese is good. I think he doesn't really get talked about enough. I think he's a good rapper. I just think he's a bit one-dimensional with what he says. He'll always start a bar with like, bro, stop lying, and stuff like that as well. I think you know what path he's going to go down is like, stop acting bad, I'm going to fuck your mum and shag your girl, or something like that. Like, he doesn't really differentiate his schemes for his opponent. That's what I will say about Cheese. I think him and Orion were actually a really good duo in the 2v2 in the clash they were actually in, but you came up against Driz and Trappy at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you came up against Driz and Trappy, so it was a very difficult opponent to come up against, and you could debatably say they might have won that if you count all the gruesome stuff within that battle, but I do think with Cheese, he's a bit one-dimensional. I'm going to put him in C. I think he's good to listen to. Again, Grime MC. I think his clarity is good. I don't think his breath control is good enough for an MC that raps fast. If you're someone who raps fast, tries to rap with clarity, tries to take on their opponent with energy, I would say that you got to have better breath control than what you are delivering. If I'm being real. But that's my opinion. I still think he's got decent rhyme schemes. I think against Orion, he was just unlucky because Orion was just on smoke in those battles, but I think he held himself high. But what differentiates him from the rest is that every other rapper can come up with a different scheme for their opponent. So, that's my opinion. S2 Mad. Yeah, I don't think he understands the assignment of Pen Game. Obviously, he's definitely not on the platform anymore. I don't know why. I don't really care, to be honest. No offense to S2 Mad. the problem with the guy is that he's kind of more known for clipping stuff on Instagram than he is in actually rapping himself on his own platforms or on Pen Game itself. He got smoked by IB Reels. It's kind of unfair to have that as your debut, to be honest, but shit happens. You might as well get thrown in the deep end, because this is the Premier League of rap battling, I'm afraid. So I don't care if you're Sunderland, you got to get put in the crossfire. You got to have Liverpool as your first game, sort of thing. So that's what I will say about ST Mad, is that he never had a standout moment, barely finished a round, smoked by Amy Reels, smoked by Dino. Yeah, and that's probably why he's not come back. So, yeah, not really too much to say about him, but good luck to him. Good luck to him. I've not heard his actual music, but I'm sure he's a decent artist. Pridley. I'm going to put Pridley in F as well. She's better than Hunt's. She's won a clash, so... Well, in my opinion, she won against Missing. Do you know what it is with Pridley? On a day, she can come up with a memorable moment, and you can come up from the battle and be like, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. She gets too distracted by the crowd and the people overhyping her around her. She also has Candy write for her, which, if you got a ghostwriter or someone that writes for you, that you're a bottom tier battler regardless. She definitely beat Miss Ink, in my opinion. Definitely beat Miss Ink. I would say, yeah, she doesn't really. She's not really a talented like MC. If I'm totally honest, there's better females on the platform. Not everyone's on this list, by the way. So anyone I do miss, don't blame me. Blame the guy who made this fucking list. But yeah, Pridley, yeah, not good enough. I'm afraid. I can't put her any higher than what she is. Against FT, she just came with full energy and not enough standout moments in that. They were both calling each other fat, which was quite funny. Quite funny in itself. But she definitely got smoked in that battle. I think it's too easy to come up against Pridley. I do think her. I don't know whether she's battling anymore, but she didn't turn up for the Shah B battle, so I don't know whether she's coming back. Kusha. Kusha's decent. I will say she comes out with a lot of standout moments. Like, everyone talks about slapping Sebs with a dildo and stuff. Even FT talks about it right in the next battle. She has a lot of potential. Again, hers is conviction, stage presence, venom in her, like vim in her voice. And what doesn't help her, and it's very difficult for her because she can't control this, is the tone of voice doesn't really reflect well on the live stage all the time. And I mean that via the sound of her voice coming out the speakers. Sometimes you can't really hear what she's saying because of the tone of voice, which is something that she can't help. I think if she had a couple more standout moments, I would put her in B tier. I'm going to put her in C tier for now. I think she needs to have a clash where she's absolutely smoked somebody, or she's had a clash where you've been like, this is like, put more respect on Kusha's name sort of thing, for her to go and be an A. I think she did well in the tournament. Don't get me wrong. I think she did well. I think she needs to allow the props a bit, but she's very good at studying her opponent as well. Very good at studying her opponent. So you can't fault her for that. Mr. Benz. I'm pretty sure this is Mr. Benz. From what I've seen, and I've only seen 2 clashes. It was against JM, and one was against Grams. I'm not a fan, personally. This guy forgets his bars more than he remembers it. No offense to the guy, but it's lambs to the slaughter at that point. It's lambs to the slaughter. So I can't really rank you any higher than that. And I've got to be fair, because I put S2 Mad, I put Hunts, and I put Pridley in the same tier. So there you go. Darnie, I've only seen once, so I'm going to put him in the bottom tier. Big up Xval in the chat. Big up Xval. I can't really rank him any higher than... Well, I can't really rank him because he's only clashed... Well, I've only seen him clash once. Are you the guy in the background of the pen game videos? I am. I am, bro. I am right at the front. I get recognised more for that than my actual YouTube channel doing it. But yes, that is me. That is me. Appreciate it, XVAL. Big up. Candy. This one's controversial. Candy has his own cult fan base. Anything bad you say about Candy, you will get crucified and your head will get chopped off. Hey, I see you always there. Yeah, I tried to be. I've been going the whole tournament, but I'm not going to be at the next one because I'm on holiday, but I'm going to be at the final. I'm definitely going to be at the final. You're always supporting I'm going to be real. Yeah, listen, I try my best, man. I'm a fan of the platform. I got an opportunity to go live. And I thought, fuck it, why not? Big up African King Academy as well. Big up, about time for this list. Yeah, man. I had to. People wanted it, so I might as well. I'm going to upload this as a clip, by the way, on Mike's Reacts as well. But yeah, I try to go to all the events as much as possible. So with Candy, I think there's two sides to him. I think one side is people don't give him enough credit for his actual rapping ability. And then you got his cult fan base that whenever he says anything remotely outrageous, he'll get too much credit for that. So yeah. What is your top 5 on Pen Game? In terms of personal favourite or best? What do you want me to rank it on? Personal favourite or best? Because I've got 2 different lists, I'd say. And I kind of got to base it on who I rank in the S tier sort of thing as well. So do you want me to go personal best or favourite? Let's hear both lists. Okay. In terms of personal favourite, I'll say IB Reels, Smiles, Sebs, Who is Orion, and... oh, it's difficult. It's between Dan Dada, Passive, and JM. I'll say Dan Dada. And then best. These are the current 5. There's going to be more people added to the list in the S tier. In terms of best, again, IB Reels, I'll say Smiles. I'll go Dan Dada. I'll go Driz. And I'll go Ren. Because he's won. He's won a tournament and kept the same consistency. The reason why I didn't say Zen is because I'm going off Pen Game. Zen's easily, quite comfortably, the best rap battler. Because he's a natural rap battler. But I'm going for their time on Pen Game. And Zen's done really well on his time at Pen Game. And a lot of bars go over people's heads. But would I put him top 5? He's not had as many clashes as some of the other people on there. But he's had a lot of stand-up moments. There's some good lists, really. Thank you, I appreciate it. But yeah, I at least back my reasoning. With Candy, obviously his biggest standout was against Pridley. He plays into the image. He knows how to make noise on social media. I think he's hilarious. I do think some of the things he says are outrageous, but he at least, like... I can appreciate you saying things outrageous to make things funny. I do think his schemes are really good. What I will say about Candy, though, I'm going to drop you a sub, bro. I appreciate you, XFile. Thank you very much. What I will say about Candy is that sometimes in his clashes, like against Marcel, like against Razaya, Scams, Passive, I can list a few, sometimes he's just rapping normal bars, where sometimes they're not even aimed at the opponent, sometimes like that against Who is Orion as well. But he also balances that out with a lot of stand-up moments, like against Orion when he says, this guy is so fat he tried eating Declan Rice, against Pridley where he had multiple stand-up moments. Go on and do one of these. Go and touch your knees and all that. Like, he had many against Pridley. He's got the most viewed clash on Pen Game. But I don't think he's on the same level as the people above in the A and S tier. So I am going to put him in the B tier. I'm not going to... By the way, these aren't in order. Like, these aren't in order, they're just in the same tier. I'm not going to put them, like, in order and stuff. I might have to, just for the sake of me posting it out online, but Candy will go B, because he's definitely far from mediocre, far from shit as a rapper. He's a very good rapper. Sometimes he flops, sometimes he delves too much away from the actual battle itself and goes with too many general bars and forgets his actual bars. But him at his best can come up with some of the most stand-up moments possible. So he's always very entertaining to listen to. Passive, Mr. Passive himself. Obviously, probably had the most talked about debut on Pen Game. I'd say him and IB Rose have had the best debuts on Pen Game. Before I ranked him in the lists of what other people were holding him up to be, I wanted to see what he was going to be like in the tournament. And in the group stage, he was absolutely outstanding. Outstanding so far. And he's got a fantastic chance of winning it. And if I was to place my bets on who is actually going to win, it will probably be Passive. I can imagine him winning. And to be honest, if he does win the tournament, he'll probably be in my top 5. To be honest with you, like in terms of top 5 best, he's definitely one of my favourites. Even though I didn't say in my top 5 favourite, top 10. Like, it's very difficult on this platform because there's too many good artists. But I still want to see more clashes. Now, the way you hear people talk about Passive, you would think that he's actually had more clashes than he actually has. But the reason why people would talk about him the way they do talk about him is because he's had so many standout moments in each individual clash that it's like he's been here for so long. So that's why I'm not going to put him in S, but I think by the end of the tournament, whether he wins it or not, he'll probably be in S. But I'm going to put him in A for now, and I think that's a fair ranking. In terms of the time on Pen Game, I'm going to put Zen in A as well. I think a lot of his bars go over people's heads. And he's by far the best like rap battler there. Like, naturally gifted rap battler, naturally gifted schemer, naturally gifted in terms of the schemes he puts together, in terms of rhyme schemes. Like, a lot of things go over people's heads, like even over my head. Like, in real life, when I went to watch him in Group B, his plane scheme against JM went over my head in his second round. I caught the coffee scheme. I left in my reload sign up about 3, 4, 5 times. I've got it here. But he didn't get enough credit for that. I do think he was robbed. Against JM. I do think JM did really well, but don't think he won that. I just realised JM isn't on this list. That's a shame. I'll talk about JM in a minute. But yeah, with Zen, he has had a lot of standout moments, but I don't think he gets enough credit. For his standout moments. I think for me, you can tell that he's been rap battling for over 11 years and stuff. I will say his cadence and his delivery becomes very, very predictable on the fact that he's basically going to alley-oop his own punchline. But he comes from a mould of him being a rap battler first rather than being an artist. So you can understand why he's been like that for so long and why he's been trained like that for so long. He's a seasoned vet. So maybe it's a disservice to put him in A, because if we're just going off actual rap battling itself, he'd be here, he'd be number 1, regardless. But I'm going off their time at Pen Game. He did run out of breath against Passive. He was very cocky against Who Is Orion. But against JM, he did really well. Against Smiles, he did really well. Against Marcel, he was rattled because of the result against JM. But for someone of that experience, you got to keep your head on a swivel, sort of thing. Cheeks is very gimmicky, very talented, very gimmicky. Knows how to make a viral moment, knows how to make a stand-up moment. But I don't think her style is sustainable. It's too spaced out. I do actually think she lost against Marcel. If I'm being 100% honest, when you watch that battle back, I think she lost that battle. But she has the most talked about moment in that. And that's no disrespect to her. At all. But at the same time, I think it's worth noting. But the fact that he had one of the most talked about moments on Pen Game, that has to be noted in itself. She is a talented MC, but it's just, She dumbs it down for Pen Game. And I want to see if she has more chinks in her armor, because she feels like a performer rather than a battler, which, as I said, more of these guys are artists more than battlers, but it's like she's focusing more on getting a crowd up rather than targeting her opponent herself. Sorry, I just hit my mic there. But yeah, more focused on getting the crowd up than targeting her opponent. So I'm going to put her in C. Kibe. I think he's probably the most underrated on Pen Game. This is Kibe, right? I think this is Kibe. Because I'm used to him with his glasses. I'm just going to check. Because I think I've watched this clash. Yeah, against Caveman, yeah. That is Kibe. I'm just not used to him without his glasses. He's very underrated. I think he did really well against F-Don. He comfortably won against JC. JC's not even on this list, which is just weird. But JC's another one that I'll probably talk about. I'm trying to think of everyone that Pen Game might have missed on this list, but I can't think of everyone. But he hasn't had enough clashes for me to put him in the same list as other people, but I'm going to put him in C. And as much as I said I wasn't going to order, I'll put him at top of C because he's very close to being at B. Very close to being at B, if I'm being 100% honest. Just has to have a couple more clashes, couple more standout moments. Rizaya only gets disrespected because he beat Candy. And quite comfortably as well. Not like that. Pause. He comfortably battered Candy. Comfortably. And with Rizaya, a lot of bars do go over people's heads, for sure. Even over mine. Sometimes there's a lot of waffle. I think sometimes he drags on the same subject matter a bit too much. I think as an artist, I think he's probably one of the best to listen to on the platform. May I do say so myself? In terms of the tempos of beats that he picks and his delivery and the pockets he hits, I think he's probably one of the best to listen to in terms of an artist. But as a battler, I think he proved that people underestimated him, including myself, in the group stage. Because him and Passive went through in Group A. We'll see how he does in the quarters. He's got a good chance of winning it, in my opinion. I think he's got a good outside chance because he's still going to be underestimated regardless. I do think sometimes he drags on a bit. I think when he's on a faster beat, you see him in his element. He can properly rip up an opponent. So that's got to be given credit as well. And I think for his performance in Group A alone, he has to go in B. He has to go in B tier, but he's got potential to go in A. He's got potential to go in A. He's got potential to go in A. Maybe S. You never know. F-Don. F-Don, you can have the same critiques as Who Is Around in Scams. In terms of the only thing that's really holding him back from being right at the top is him flopping. For someone who's been on Pen Game for as long as he has been, I don't know why he started to get too distracted by the crowd so much. But in terms of, again, having a different scheme for a different opponent, he studies his opponents very well. Very well. And he has a different subject matter for a different person. It's not like he's saying the same thing about the same opponents all the time. He's a very, very talented rapper. Very talented rapper. And to be honest with you, I think he's too disrespected. I think everyone's first introduction to F-Don was actually his clash against Ren. People forget he won Season 3 against Scams. So that gives you enough points already. He was in the final with a 2v2. Quarter-final with a previous solo tournament as well. F-Don, Dandano, Who Is Orion, Ambu and Domi, I would love to see in this tournament, but it's a shame they're not. The one against Zen was really disappointing because he had a lot of potential and his beat selections were really unique. And the thing is, when F-Don is at his best, he has a lot of chinks in his armor as well. So I don't want to really hear disrespect. So I'm putting him in A. Any lower is a complete disrespect in my opinion. Karma. We're seeing Karma recently against IB Rules. You guys have to see the clashes against Cheeks and JC. For me, with Karma, I think he's really improved. Again, like most people on here, really good artist, makes good music from what I've heard. I've only heard one song, I think it was Flexi. That seemed like a decent song, to be fair. Very talented, very versatile. And what I think he needs to do, I think he needs to flex his artistry more in his battles to make people remember him. He studied his opponent very well against Ivory Rules, flipping his flows, but it says a lot when his only standout moments against Ivory Rules was him flipping Ivory Rules' flows, which I don't like the critique of, he stole people's flows. He's stealing the person's flow and stuff. No. It's not stealing. It's about studying your opponent. But those can't be your only standout moments. In terms of bars, there was no bar where I was like, wow. But he's far from shit. So I'm putting him in C tier. Putting him in C tier. Miss Ink. Miss Ink's a weird one, you know, because she's fluctuates, in my opinion. She fluctuates in terms of, like, at her best, she's decent. She got good schemes, good flows, good delivery. She's not on Pen Game anymore for her own different reasons. I don't even remember. I watched her video. I don't remember what the reasons were, though. That's her business. Hadn't really had enough clash, but sometimes it's very basic, and I don't know why she gives me very Iggy Azalea vibes at times when she's at her worst. Very, very inconsistent. I don't think it's fair to put her on the same tier as the people in C. So she's going to have to be in the tier below. But she's not the worst on there. Not the worst on there. I don't think she's shit. I just think she's just below average. What's funny is that the people in C aren't average MCs. It's kind of like the tier below is actually the average tier. But it's just that the bar is so high on Pen Game. The bar is incredibly high. Anbu Sensei. Anbu Sensei. I keep saying Anbu. It's actually Anbu. I actually watched this tier list with Sam Ham as well. I think we see music kind of the same from what I hear him make his critiques about and how he studies battles and stuff. When, like, just a kind of a bit of a backstory with Anbu Sensei. I can't remember. I think the first time I actually met was Group A, but I didn't really talk to him as much because I was still getting used to the space. I didn't know that you could just talk to the rappers casually. But well, I don't know whether it was Group B. I think it was actually the Lounges event, the first Lounges event I went to, where he battled Dandana. After that, I just wanted to watch the ciphers that were going on, and there was the street cipher with Fonzo and Lurks. Shout out to them. I shout out Real Music as well on TikTok. I didn't know he could freestyle like that. I did not know Anbu could freestyle like that. As an artist, he is a top tier artist. He's one of the best freestylers in the UK off the dome. He's incredible. Go watch the Sam Ham ciphers for proof. The guy is absolutely incredible when it comes to freestyling on the spot. I don't know whether he could do that in a battle. Yeah, I think he prefers writing when it comes to a battle, but let's talk about his battles. His schemes are absolutely sensational. He is ridiculous. But he hasn't had enough clashes under his belt. I think he's just starting to find himself. And to come up against Smiles and Dandana and hold yourself up like that, brilliant. And I think you can tell that he feels he's starting to get the credit he deserves when he was getting his reloads. And you can see he's in his element. Now, any of the anime bars, I'm not going to be able to understand because I don't watch anime. But everything else, when I watch it back, I'm like, I missed this out, I missed this out, and I missed this out. And I'm like, the guy is a fucking G. That second round against Dandana is the best I've ever heard him. He was amazing against Smiles. He was also amazing against Dandana as well. He's got heaps of potential to go in tier A, and he will be, and he has potential to go even higher, just like everyone else on this list. I'm actually going to drop Grams down because I think the bar is a bit high. I think these lot have raised their level a bit for Grams. I'm sorry, Grams, but Anbu has insane, but his cadence is catchy as well. Like just from a list on the ear perspective, his cadence, his flow, his delivery is very catchy, very, very catchy. So that as well is very important to me. But that's not why I've put him in B. I think he has a lot of highlight moments in his past couple of battles. I would have loved to see what he would have done in the tournament. And I hope he gets that clash with Candy. I know he wants that. And the last person I'm going to rank is Smiles. We'll talk about some of the rappers that are not on the list in a minute. I am going to do more streams, more reaction streams another time as well. Because it is nearly midnight. And I will do this earlier because not many people are watching. So, yeah. Let me just retitle the stream. Mike's does pen game rappers tier list. Mike's reacts. So Smiles. Probably one of my favourites on pen game, as I said earlier. When it comes to standout moments, flows, bars, punchlines, schemes, studying your opponent, beat selection, adapting to the crowd. He has everything. So this is one of the easiest decisions I ever have to make on this list. Smiles is up there for sure. What do you want to put him? Top 5, top 3? First, I completely hear that. I said that either IB Rules or Smiles first. But I give it to IB Rules. Pause. I think with Smiles, he's absolutely insane. Big up Tyrell. I think he's insane. I think his flows are insane. I think his cadence is insane. I think the pockets he gets into is insane. I think his actual punchlines and bars are underrated because he raps so well in terms of delivery and flow in itself. I think his bars go under the radar a bit. I think what he needs to concentrate on, though, because I listened to some of his lives and stuff and him talking like, just ignore what people say. Ignore the online narratives and do your thing and keep self-improving. Because he's basically flawless when it comes to delivering on the day. Like, he's a big game player sort of thing when it comes to rap battle-wise. If I was to use the football analogy, he's a big game player. So he rises to the big occasion, has a fantastic chance of winning the tournament as well. So, yeah. There's rappers that are on the list that I would like to rank as well, and then we'll end the stream there. JM, I put JM in B tier, but he's literally so close to going on A tier. So close to going on A tier. Like, very, very close to going to A tier. Again, after this tournament, he'll probably move up as well. Dino can move up in the future. Fendry can move up after this tournament. Dobby Dust can move up very soon. Soka Brazaya, Soka Nambu. I don't think Candy can, if I'm being 100% honest, because Candy is what Candy is. JM is, like, a lot of people, when I was talking to a couple of people, they were like, I knew JM was good, but I didn't know he was that good. Dino and Nico will tell you this if they remember. Shout out to Nico Mentor. Shout out to Dino. When I met them for Group B, and they asked me who do I think's going through, I said Smiles and JM, because I know what JM's capable of. When I watched him against Fendry, I was like, Fendry? Yeah, against Fendry on his debut. And then no, that wasn't his debut. Was that his debut? I think that was before the Pen Game North event, so yeah, I think that was his debut. Because he faced Mr. Benz and someone else after that, I can't remember who. He faced them, and then he faced Dino before the tournament. I was like, this guy's cold. Maybe it was because he was a Graham MC, I just took to him more, but this guy's sick. I was like, this guy can flow, he can rhyme, he studies his opponent, he's savage. So I would put I don't know why JM isn't in this fucking list, but JM will be in B tier for me, but he has more than enough potential to go A tier. More than enough potential to go A tier. He's actually one of my favourite on the platform, not going to lie. I think that clash against Smiles is one of the best I've ever seen. In JM versus Smiles, bro, they both went absolutely ham. And they both went through for a reason. So, credit to them. Credit to both of them. But, yeah, JM has to go B tier. Same with JC. JC's not on this list. JC should go B tier as well. Maybe after the tournament, he could go A tier. He's another one just like Dino, Fendry, and everyone else on B tier. They have heaps of potential to go to A tier. But it's just a matter of time, having more clashes under their belt, having more standout moments as well, and delivering on the day. And you're going to see against Karma and Cheeks what he's also capable of as well. But credit to JC as well. Who else is not on this list? I'm going to have to check. Because there's a lot of pen game rappers that are probably not on this list. If I was to go through pen game now, Tap 24 is not on this list. I don't think he's only had 2 clashes. So I can't really rank him in terms of the general scheme of just pen game in itself. I'm not going to rank the fucking offbeat guys. Acapella guys. Don't know who else is not on this list, to be fair. There's quite a lot of people on this list. I think they've only missed out a couple, to be fair. I don't know how JM is not on this list. I don't know how Thingy's not on this list, but we move. Marcel's not on this list. Marcel. I put Marcel in C tier with potential going to B tier. Really good schemes. Good rhyme schemes. He needs to listen to the beat. He needs to stop flopping. Stay concentrated. Because he's good at studying his opponent. Maybe a bit too gimmicky, but he has got bars as well. And as I said, I think he won that clash against Cheeks. J Money hasn't had enough battles. I can't rank him. I've already ranked all of them lot. I think that's it. Storm would go... He flops too much, so C tier, but he's actually decent. He's got an incredible flow. Good at rhyming. I think he did really well against Grabs and Passive in the 2v2, so he'll go C tier, but potential to go B tier. I already wrote... How the fuck did Mr. Benz, Mills, and Caveman and Miss Ink make this list? And ST Mad, but JM didn't. Marcel didn't. Very confusing. I guess ST Mad is memorable for all the wrong reasons, with all due respect to him. Yeah, I'm not ranking too mad. Hasn't had enough clashes. He's only had one. Yeah, that's it. That's I'm not going too far back, so those are the ones I'm going to rank. Let me see if I'm going to redirect, even though there was literally one person watching. Big up to the one person watching on Twitch, but yeah. We'll redirect regardless, just for the sake of it. Search up my channels. Who's live? Who's live that we like? Let me just go on my phone and check. Let me refresh. Who is still alive? There's quite a few people alive, actually. Touchline, Elijah, Joey. We will redirect to Elijah. Yeah. It's currently having an Ange Postecoglou conversation, so we're going to redirect to Elijah. Big up everyone here. I'll do another stream on Wednesday, maybe. I'll do another stream at the end of this week doing React streams. I'll have more uploads on the React channel within the week as well. We're going to have the summer series tomorrow with Elijah, Prime, and Alfie. And yeah, catch you guys in a bit. Take care and peace.